We danced anything from Aretha Franklin to Bruce Springsteen on the lawns that we cut. And afterwards, we'd go home, we'd eat baklava, we'd talk to Grandma Sarian and Esther, and we just had a great time doing it. This is not the place to tell all the stories, all the fun stories, so I'll keep it at that. But I want to let you know that Carl took care of business, and the business that Carl took care of was family. Family, friends, which he defined for his love of life. Whatever his sisters, brothers, sisters-in-laws, nephews, nieces needed, they knew they could count on their brother, Uncle Pudge. If friends were sick, had family or business problems, Manoog was there, anytime, day or night. But that does not happen in a vacuum. That happened because an extremely smart and wonderful lady named Kathy had the ability to share Carl with us. Kathy, thank you. Your father, if you can't, take the time, read my Facebook post, because I tried to capitalize your father on that. Your father left you something that's worth more than anything in the world. He left you a legacy of his good deeds, of the ability that he had to honor people, and he got paid back tenfold. He left you the legacy of a good name. That's what your father left you. Carry on the legacy. Carl, may your soul go straight up to heaven quickly, and may you continue to do good work. Love you, Manoog.
Next person, please come forward.
The other one? Yes. Okay, great. Hello, my name is Mark Cohen. I'm one of Carl's newer friends. We met in 1975, or some of the other people here met him a bit earlier. I was very fortunate to be Carl's dear friend for 45 years and shared with him joy, shared with him pain, shared with him the joy of his marriage to Kathy, the birth of his 3 sons, which couldn't have made him any happier. And what I will always remember about Carl was he had an innate ability, and pardon me, I'm calling him Carl, I never did in my life, I always called him Manoog. Yeah. He had an innate ability to make you feel better after you left the room of being with Carl. It started with a smile on his face that was infectious, that other people, when they would see him smile, they would smile once they saw him again. It's an amazing trait that I emulated since I was a kid, a teenager. And no one before him or since him has been able to do that and to make others around him feel so special, which he's done for so many of us. He taught us how to say, "I love you," and did it well. He could touch not only his family, but was there to help people who he may not have been known for a long time or close with, but he lived a life of service to his community and service to those he came in contact with. And I will cherish this friendship with Manoog for as long as I live, because he has made an imprint on me that will last forever. And my only great regret was we used to have a saying that he was on Manoog time. And that meant that if you told Manoog to be there at 7:30, you wouldn't even start looking for him till about 10 to 8. But this time, he was far, far too early. And even though he packed a lot of love into his life for these 60 years, for those of us close to him and to his family, this was far too early. But thank God we've had him for all these years. And I thank you for your patience and your understanding. Thank you.
Okay, it's kind of very hard to follow Billy and Marcone, Billy Newman and Marcone, but my name is TJ Ruza, and I've known Carl the longest. Carl and I go back to 1968. We met in 3rd grade at Northbrook Elementary, and we have been close friends ever since. He is my pal, my friend, my confidant. He has been there through every single thing that both of us have gone through. His family, Robin, Judy, Karen, Esther, Carl Sr., Max, Cory, Alec, and of course, the love of my life, Kathy Manoogian, who when I met her, said to Carl, marry her, and have been a family to me. And we have been vice versa. My family is their family, our family is their family. We are as close as can be. We have celebrated every single, in the Jewish religion we say simchas, celebration, Christmas, New Year's, holidays, weddings, everything. And Carl has been my life, my all and everything. You know, when somebody passes away, we always, people always say, they were the nicest, they were the kindest, they were the most wonderful. Everybody's not so nice, wonderful, and kind, right? Carl was the nicest, the kindest, and most wonderful person there was. There's no doubt that everyone knew Carl was the nicest person in the world with the biggest heart. When Carl saw you, he always had you greeted with open arms, right? Carl like this, open arms, a big smile on his face, and a huge hug, always. He made everyone feel special, and he made everyone feel better for who they were and what they were. Carl was so special and unique. He never looked back on the past. He never thought about the future. He was living in the here and now. What a great characteristic. I wish I could do that. He just loved being in the here and now, the present moment, enjoying everything and loving everything that was happening right now. He lived to the fullest, and we are so happy that we were able to live it with him. And I will treasure, and all of us will treasure every moment. Carl taught me many things. He taught me kindness, empathy, and how to be a good husband, a good father, and most importantly, a good friend. But most of all, he taught me how to say, I love you. Because every time I talk to Carl, after every comment or every conversation, he said, T, I love you. And for me, that's the all and most important thing. Carl, we love you. We will truly miss you, but you will never, ever be forgotten. So if Carl was here, he would say to me, T, raise your glass, toast to me, say thank you, and just be happy. Carl, we love you. Manoogians, we love you. Thank you.
Uncle Pudge, how do I even begin to put into words what this man meant to all of us? This man who took Robin, me, and my sister Brooke, and probably a few other people in this room to our first concerts, and was with me at the last concert I saw. The man who called his sister Judy literally every day, sometimes more than once, just to talk about nothing and everything. The man who taught me the joys of grilling Italian sausages at midnight while listening to rock and roll on the Saturday nights when I would sleep over after babysitting the boys. The man who would sometimes pick me up early for said babysitting nights so that we could sneak Star Deli sandwiches in the car when he was pretending to be eating healthy. The man who, after finding the door to my grandmother's house open and no one home, searched the house with me, and when we realized we still had to check the basement, gave 13-year-old me the baseball bat and said, "Okay, Tush, I'm gonna open the door. You hit the burglar with the bat." The man who brought pretty much everyone he knew together for lamb chops and coney dogs at 9 a.m. every opening day, even if opening day, with so much excitement that it was impossible not to have fun no matter the weather. This was a man who would spend hours talking to any one of us through anything we needed help with, anytime we needed him. Uncle Pudge was a man who loved everyone he knew with fierceness and loyalty and kindness and joy. He was a man who gave you no choice but to be in a good mood when you were around him, simply by proclaiming your name when he saw you with such enthusiasm that you felt like just by showing up you had made his entire day. While lounging on our rafts in Lake Huron a few summers ago, Uncle Pudge looked at me and said, "You don't even know, Tush, floating is my happiness." And the thing is, what I realized is it really was, because there was an incredible lightness to this man. He had the ability to sort of float through life, as if suspended by his own effervescent happiness. He was genuinely the coolest man I've ever known. He was the heart and the soul of our family, and we are all a little lost without him. So to answer my question, how can you possibly find words to capture the legacy of such a man as this? I think the only way is simply to say that Uncle Pudge was, in fact, the man. I love you, Uncle Pudge. Thank you.
It will take a long time for us to share the love that Carl shared with us. But it can be done. So that's what we have to do. You learned so much from talking to Uncle Carl. He was eager to share his opinion. He was confident enough to argue for his opinion. And he was clever enough to make that argument. I'm going to miss hearing, "Well, Nikki, you have issues." It was fun to poke at Uncle Carl, rib him if given the opportunity. But if you ever really questioned how cool Uncle Carl is, he had a response. 3 simple words that validate his truth. I married Kathy. That was his evidence. That was his proof. From his father, Carl Sr., and with his father-in-law, Baba Frank, he built a baseball palace for Zoe, Zoe, and Zoe. All I can say to you, Carl, is thank you. Thank you from your nieces and nephews. Thank you from all the people you welcomed into your family. From the NFWB teammates, from the Walled Lake Western goofballs and the Michigan State roommates, from the Copper Creek and Chelsea Park neighbors. Because we were hanging out with your sons, we were hanging out with you. And that always brought us joy. It will take time to share the love that Carl shared with us. But it can be done. So that's what we'll do.
Well done, Nicholas. My name is Alec. I'm Carl's youngest son. It's weird starting this without hearing him awkwardly yell from the back, "Go Joe!" Just waiting for it. Been waiting for it for ever now, it seems. Never gonna see that. That's tough. I don't know how to really talk about him in ways that other people really perceived, other than just what he taught me and what I got to gain from just listening to him. He, alongside my mom, produced a doctor, a lawyer, and a schmutzy. I can say confidently that schmutzy was his favorite. While we never confirmed the true definition of the word, I gotta guess it's Yiddish for goofball or something. But that was his way of just looking at me and smiling at me and telling me he loved me. And I loved every bit of it. I welcomed it. Just like he always welcomed me, whether I screwed up or learned something or did something sweet. He always treated me the same. I'm the luckiest son in the world for that. He taught me about humility, self-respect, and decency. He taught me how to laugh with people and also how to be able to laugh at yourself. I think it was something he used. It helped him take a step back to just take 2 giant steps forward. He did it with ease. He was my greatest teacher and clearly my best friend. There was nothing that I didn't share with him or that he didn't know about me. He would tell people that I was a spitting image of him. I never felt that was fair to him, personally. I mean, he had the greatest head of hair of any baseball coach I'd ever seen. I tried to do it today, and I'm just like, man, I wish I could ask him what his secret was. That's why he didn't wear hats. I'll carry every bit of him with me for the rest of my life. I'm not worried about losing my father or losing his memory. It's the everyday interaction with him I don't know how to replace. Sucks. But he, like I said, has taught me everything. He prepped me for this. He knew one day it would happen. And he just wanted me to make sure that all of you knew that he was the happiest man to ever live. I love you, Dad.
I'm Cory, and I'm one member of the banana boat crew here that we have. I'll always remember watching my father doing yard work and thinking to myself, wow, this guy is an absolute beast. My father had many gifts, and among them was putting as much explosiveness into planting trees and flowers as Lawrence Taylor did when he rushed the quarterback. My father had so much love for life that he had to tell you about it every single day. I am the person today that I am because of my father. When I think about my childhood, I think about riding in his car to baseball games and listening to Led Zeppelin, Elvis Costello, or Jimi Hendrix. I remember thinking the entire world was mine because I hit home runs and I had the coolest dad on the team. He was a successful businessman, and he was able to close million-dollar deals while coaching first base. When the inning was over, he would walk back from first base while screaming at the top of his lungs that it was time to play some defense. He made everyone feel loved. Whenever I'd go to places with him as a kid, we would run into someone who couldn't wait to tell me how much my dad helped them in their life. Back then, I didn't truly understand this, but as time went by, I realized these random interactions at the gas station or Target defined my dad as a person. It became clear that while he was raising me towards becoming the person I wanted to be, he was doing the exact same thing for an infinite amount of other people in his life. I think that's why being a father was so natural to him. There was one time in high school where he came home to find out my mom finally caught me smoking weed, and I was really, really scared. But he just told me how proud he was of the positive reviews he just got from my work. And then he asked me if I wanted him to make me scrambled eggs because he knew I was probably hungry. Every time I spoke to my father, he told me how proud he was of me. He told me how much he loved me, literally all the time. He made me believe that I could do anything that I ever wanted. When I was 14, he started investing all of his money into my education. It was his life goal to pay for his children to go to college. There are not a lot of fathers that would pay for their son to attend undergrad at MSU for 6 years, a fine 7. He made my life incredibly easy and lifted me up through all of my struggles. And there were a lot. It's his voice that I hear when I open my mouth. And pretend to be a grown-up. It's his voice I hear when I talk to somebody who doesn't believe in themselves. Whenever I strike out, do poorly on an exam, or get kicked out of high school, he made me feel good about myself again. He was the greatest father that ever lived. He was the happiest man that we've all ever known. And there will never be anyone as amazing as Carl, Eric Manoogian, even you, TJ, wherever you are. The best thing that I'll ever be is his son, and I thank God every day that's what I am. Thank you.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. Carl Manoogian taught me how to be a person. And let it be known that everything that I have ever done and everything that I will ever do was in the sole pursuit of making him proud. Let it also be known that he never failed to make it abundantly clear that my efforts were working. My dad loved his father. My dad admired his father. My dad honored his father. They saw the world in brilliant color. They cared about the right things. The people that they met knew who they were. They lived loudly, not in defiance, but in reverence for the life that was given to them, for the people that were placed beside them. for the institutions that they were a part of. My dad believed deeply in his soul that his father and I were the same person. And that made him profoundly happy. The three of us had 12 years together. And those 12 years were not wasted. The bond that we share is eternal. It is my footprint. I carry the torch for them. I believe in everything. My dad was his mother's son. She was the center of his universe. Their love was pure. I know that love. That love is no less a force of nature than gravity itself. He did not need to teach it to me, but he showed me what to do with it. Before anything, my dad was a brother. He took care of his sisters, and they took care of him. Karen was his big sister. She guided him through his childhood. When she got married, her husband became his big brother. He looked up to Bert so much. Bert possessed a lot of the masculine qualities that my dad looked up to. After Bert passed, he tried his best to fill the gaps for your children. Lauren, Brooke, Steve, he loved you so much. He talks about you all the time. Steve, he spent the last months of his life quarantining with you, day by day, utilizing your gifts, the gifts that he lacked, the gifts that his big brother, your dad, passed down to you. And you built him his dream bathroom. These last few months gave him so much joy. Steve, you go on for the rest of your life. You know that you completed the circle. Karen, look at me. That you completed the circle between our dads. Thank you, Steve. And Robin, you knew my dad exactly the way that I did. We shared his passions. We partied with him. We danced with him. We grew with him. We fought with him. He beat us up sometimes because he knew that we could take it. He believed in what we were capable of doing, and he wanted so desperately to see us succeed. He saw the fire inside of us, and he was not afraid to stoke it and walk right through. You and I have unique... You and I have unique paths in this world. He not only understood that, he was fascinated by it. He lived vicariously through us, and he bathed in the light that our fires produced. He was so proud to be your brother. Aunt Judy, you were his best friend. You were in his life not just day by day, but hour by hour. You were his lifeline. Your house was his escape. You made my dad feel strong. You made my dad feel important. You made my dad feel like he was a great person. In essence, you gave my dad the very thing that he gave to everybody else. You are an extension of him, and his spirit will live through you as much as it does through me and my brothers. I'll say the rest tomorrow. I love you. On behalf of the Manoogian family, you are the people that made up my dad's life. And we thank you.
Thank you to those who had those very moving and fulfilling words. In a few moments, we're going to begin the wake service itself. Again, respectfully, because there are so many people in church, I ask that you not move around that much. We are trying to keep everyone safe and everyone healthy, including the family members and all of you. We love all of you very much and want you to be as healthy as possible. So if you can just please remain in your places. There are some open spaces for those that have just entered. If you wish to come by for the next few moments, and again from a distance, express your condolences to family members. If you have offered your respects and wish to depart at this time, we ask that you depart with the peace of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Anything else? Anything else? Okay. We're going to begin in 10 minutes.